Hey guys, it's Hans Hobbies, and today I have a video about my ECX Circuit. This is a two-wheel drive stadium truck made by Horizon Hobby, or ECX, their ECX brand. And I originally got this thing at my local hobby shop where I used to live, um, as the ECX AMP MT. But despite Horizon Hobby trying to market it as a monster truck and trying to make it into a monster truck, realistically, from all its dimensions and specs, it's a stadium truck. Even the MT version is a stadium truck. They should have just called it a stadium truck to begin with. I don't know why they try to call it an MT, but regardless, it's a stadium truck, and especially with the stadium truck body on it and the stadium truck wheels on it, it's even more of a stadium truck. And also some of the other minor changes I made to it. At this point, it's literally just a ECX circuit, even though I got it as a amp. So that's why I'm gonna call it a circuit. Um, it makes it a lot less confusing. The ECX amp, it's kind of a tangent, but the ECX amp line in general is kind of confusing in general because they sell three cars, all with basically the same name. There's the amp MT, the amp DB, and the amp Crush, which ironically the amp Crush is also a monster truck, but actually a proper monster truck. So the calling the amp MT and the monster truck makes even less sense. But anyway, I'm gonna call it a circuit because that's basically what it is. And what this video is basically gonna be is one, going over my particular circuit and the build I've done for it, and two, kind of like a mini review of the circuit and this like chassis platform, ECX two-wheel drive chassis platform in general. Um, and kind of comparing it to like some like competitors. Mainly the Traxxas Rustler is the main competitor to this at the moment. So the biggest caveat right off the bat with ECX is, at the moment, Horizon Hobby has it set up so ECX is only available through your local brick and mortar, like in like real life hobby shops. You cannot get these online unless you get them like warranty returned ones from eBay or something like that. You cannot get these brand new in box online anymore, which is a little bit unfortunate, but also kind of makes sense. Horizon Hobby has a lot of brands. They have Losi and Arma and all those brands available online. So they want to support local hobby shops. So it's nice of them. So that they put the entry level vehicles to sell at the hobby shop, which most people that get their first RC car at the hobby shop are people that don't know anything about RC and need recommendation and stuff. So it's a good choice for Horizon Hobby to do. It just makes it a little bit harder to access these things. So they're not as popular as I think they could be. But with that out of the way, let's go over my ECX circuit. So obviously, I have this like retro style going on with this thing, and it's basically my retro racer build. It has kind of like a 80s or like 90s style stadium truck racing body. It's a J Concepts body, as you can kind of tell from the sticker on the side, and it is the Ford F-150 style one. So you can see the F-150 grill in the front, and then the tail lights and like tailgate on the back. I quite like this look, the look of this truck. So I tend to get this truck whenever I can. My Clodbuster is also the same generation F-150, so kind of kind of matches my collection a little bit there in that aspect. You can see I have kind of like a Tamiya Hornet style graphic going on. I had some extra Tamiya Hornet decals laying around, so I just threw them on there. The pink didn't turn out very well because I didn't I forgot to back. It's supposed to be like bright fluorescent pink, but I forgot to back the pink with white before painting the black. So they kind of turned out in this like dull pink color, which is a little bit unfortunate and looks kind of crap in my opinion, especially since it doesn't really match the rest of the Hornet theme. But it's it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Um, I beat this body up pretty hard anyway, so at some point it's gonna need a new body anyway. So I'm not too mad about it. Um, And stadium truck bodies aren't too expensive, so it's not that big of a deal. And Hornet decals are not expensive either, so again, not a big deal. But yeah, I got my. I feel like I integrated the ECX and Tamiya Hornet stuff pretty well. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be like that for the most part. Some more racing, sponsorship decals on the side. 97 because that's how my actual Hornet is numbered. Looking at the top here, some more sponsors and stuff. A little ECX sticker down there and Tamiya sticker right there. And of course the classic Anytime Baby sticker on the spoiler. Hornet logo up here, and then Hobby Wing and all that. I feel like I did a pretty decent job of making it look like kind of like a retro racer stadium truck. Now these tires are also from Tamiya. These are off of my GF01. And I think Tamiya also used these on the DT03 Acro Shot, which is like a two-wheel drive stadium truck based on their buggy platform. And they also use these wheels and tires. And size-wise, these are essentially stadium truck tires, so it worked out perfectly because the original AMP tires that I had on this were destroyed. So I drove it quite a lot, so they were destroyed. So I needed new wheels and tires for it, but I didn't really feel like going out and buying buying new ones. So I just stuck these on there for now, and these are foam filled, and they look pretty decent. And the tread pattern is okay. They kind of look like dirt, the Proline Dirt Hogs or something. It's kind of like a combination street dirt tire. So and they work pretty decently for my application. So quite happy with these. On the rear here, I have a rear bumper off of my ECX Brutus monster truck. Stadium trucks usually don't have rear bumpers, but I like having this on here because it makes it easier for me to grip. And I don't know, I feel like it looks cool, so that's why I stuck it on there. The front bumper, I also tried to stick on the Brutus front bumper on it, but unfortunately the front bulkhead is slightly different, so I couldn't fit it on there. So it just has a stock ECX AMP and Circuit bumper on it. So it's not the prettiest bumper and it's not the most functional bumper, but it's better than not having a bumper on there. So I left it on there. I wish the bumper was black, but it's kind of like that Traxxas gray plastic, so that's also kind of a downer. But again, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of whatever. And then on taking the body off, and you can see the body clips are held in with zip ties that are mounted to the bodies. I'll never lose these body clips. If you want to see how I did that, it's just how I did it. Pretty simple, straightforward. In here, I upgraded the electronics out of the box. The AMP MT comes with a 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo, and then like a really weak servo, and then a 20-turn motor. So I upgraded everything on here. So what's this stuck right here? The peanut shell for some reason stuck in my drive shaft. But basically, I upgraded everything to basically what the Circuit would have. Plus some upgrades. So this is the same ESC that the ECX Circuit would have had. It's just the typical Hobby Wing brushed ESC. The Circuit currently, as it's sold now, comes with a 15-turn 540 motor, as well as the cheaper Spectrum radio that's not actually Spectrum compatible. But I have a SR210 Spectrum receiver on here, so I can run it off my Spectrum DX4S transmitter. And 2 channels is all you really need, so that works out pretty well for that. I have the typical 20 kg Metal Gear Amazon servo. It's plenty durable, and they're fast enough for my applications, so that I quite like these servos. The metal case also adds a little bit of weight in the front, so it balances out the truck a little bit as well, so that's pretty nice. At the back here, I have a 550 size 12-turn brushed motor. This is a motor off of the ECX Brutus, and I quite like this motor because one is 12 turns, so it's pretty quick, but it seems to be a lot more reliable than the Titan 12-turn by Traxxas. And also, it's just like a silver can, so it looks like a Tamiya silver can motor while having the performance of a 12-turn. So that both performance and aesthetic purposes, I quite like this motor back here. And then obviously just the typical EC3 connect EC3 connector, typical Horizon Hobby stuff. Ironically, this ESC was also off of my GF01, so a bunch of GF01 parts were stolen. I think the receiver was also off my GF01, so I don't have my GF01 anymore, which is why I stole all the electronics and tires and stuff off of it. This is the older model though, so the switch doesn't have like the rubber boot around it. It's just like the typical switch, but it seems to be still waterproof. So not a huge deal there. As far as some other upgrades, the suspension is stock. I've only changed the preload on them because out of the box the shocks work pretty well. The rears are a little bit oversprung, but other than that, it works pretty well. Don't really have any complaints about the stock shocks. They don't leak, they don't pop off the caps or anything. So even though they're plastic body and they look cheap, they're decent shocks. So really like the stock shocks on here. Stock camber link in the front and steering link in the front. I may end up replacing the front camber link front camber link with the metal tie rod in the future. But the steering link, I'm gonna keep the stock one because I like how in an impact, this stock flexible plastic one will pop off instead of breaking. So that's a nice little safety feature there. And then the front knuckle, the C-hub and the knuckle I replaced with RPM parts. The only weak point parts wise that this truck has is basically the screw, the bottom shoulder screw here. It's a really proprietary and special screw. And unfortunately it tends to back out and fall off, and once it does you have to get the ECX like screw kit to replace it, or do what I did and just like replace it with junk. This is just like a Tamiya brass collar and then just a Tamiya screw that I just shoved in there to work. So that's the only like reliability issue that this thing has. And I've driven this thing pretty hard. I've jumped it off roofs, like literally off the roof of my house onto the driveway. Just crashed it right onto a corner. Nothing was really broken on it. Everything's nice and thick and flexible enough, so it's plenty durable. Some people, if you like really upgrade the transmission, you'll strip out the plastic gears, but that's not an issue for me because I upgraded mine to metal just because. Not that I needed to. My stock gears are still fine. I just did it just in case. So metal gears in it now, so that's nice and durable. The rears, I have adjustable turnbuckles and I have aluminum rear hubs. I usually don't like having aluminum hubs and stuff like that because once you beef up these parts, your A-arms and the next plastic part link is the next thing to break. So I don't really like doing this, but I had them laying around, so I just threw them on there. I would have liked to put an RPM part on there, but I already had these, so I just threw it on. The drive shafts are still the stock ones, and even with how much I've driven them, they don't have that much wear on them, even at the pins. So they're also standing up really well. The truck overall has been very good and very reliable and very durable, and I'm really happy with it. The stock Servo Saver is very loose and kind of crap out of the box. It's very loose, so when you reverse, it tends to like wobble back and forth. So I got the RPM Servo Saver Eliminator kit, and I don't like that kit because it doesn't really work. It's still like wobbles back and forth when you reverse, and it just doesn't work very well. It binds strangely sometimes. So what I just ended up doing is taking the extra metal collar and metal like Servo Saver collars from my ECX Brutus and just beefed it up and made it thicker and stiffer that way, and that works way better. It can reverse straight now, and the Servo Saver still functions without being like ridiculously loose, so that's really nice. And then the last thing I had to change on this truck is the body mount, so I can fit the J Concepts body on it, because the J Concepts body is meant for the Traxxas Rustler, so it doesn't actually fit on here without some upgrades. The front body mounts, I believe, are off my ECX Brutus. The rear body mounts are also, I believe, off the ECX Brutus, but I had to modify them. You can see they're kind of cut right here because of the way the body is molded, I had to clearance this middle section, so that had to be modified slightly. But the way I have it set up, I really like how it looks for the most part, other than the paint turning out like trash. I really like how it looks. I love driving this thing, and I will show you guys a driving video of this thing here soon. I usually like to film on weekdays because currently I'm done with school and just job searching basically, and during the week everyone's at school and at work, so the skate park is free and there's no one there, so, and then the track is free and there's no one there, so I can film without people trying to talk to me or whatever. So I will have a driving video of this out pretty soon. And overall, the ECX Circuit, AMP MT, AMP TB, they're all excellent trucks. ECX makes some pretty good stuff. And if you have the luxury of having a local hobby shop, definitely get one of these. I would personally recommend one of these over the Rustler, just because regardless of my dissatisfaction with Traxxas, overall it has better suspension geometry, better like overall chassis design and geometry in general. This design is based off of like old team associated like race buggy style chassis and stuff, like old like B4s and stuff like that, so, or like B3s and stuff like that. So the suspension geometry is a lot better on this truck, so it's gonna perform a lot better in, later on, if you're into like handling and stuff. And even as a basher, it's plenty durable. It's really easy to get parts. Parts are still available online. You don't have to go to the hobby shop for the parts. So parts are easy to come by. They're plenty durable, so you won't even have to buy parts that often. It's standard size, so like standard Rustler wheels and bodies and stuff, all that kind of stuff will fit on it. And overall, just really, really good truck, and I'm really happy with this truck. I'm even more happy with it because I got this thing as a gift originally, so I didn't even have to pay for it, so that makes it even better. But I really haven't talked about this thing or shown it on my channel, so I thought I'd take a chance to talk about it here. But before I ramble on too long, thank you guys so much for watching. Look out on my channel for more videos of this thing or any of my RCs in my collection. So if you guys want to see that, subscribe, comment down below, all that good YouTube shenanigans, and as always, I will see you guys next time.